Special effects are commonly found in most of today's movies, ranging from character modeling to full-scale world creation. The range of how special effects can be used is constantly increasing, and the average viewer won't notice how a special effect is created in today's productions. In this documentary, I'll attempt to explain the different types of special effects, how special effects have become common practice in many of the productions we see today, and why special effects are useful to making a production succeed. Before we go into the types of special effects, we first need to know what the goal of a special effect is.
The goal of special effects in productions depends on what the actual goal of the production is, but typically in a production the goal of special effects is to create things that people can see that could not normally be created, to allow the entire viewing audience to be more immersed in what they're supposed to be seeing. It creates an immersive world where people are actually able to see the things that they are told are there through the script.
Special effects can be used in a variety of ways, from creating entire worlds in a film to animating fictional monsters, and they can even be used for making clever transitions between scenes. Sometimes, even using text can be considered a special effect.
I'd see an entirely different set of effects if I was watching some films from the 1920s as I would from watching like television, today. There's a great scene where there's a battle between these guys where they're fighting skeletons, and the skeletons are animated in stop motion, and yet they appear to be on the same screen as the live action characters.
Special effects can also include minor things as well, such as removing unwanted objects or fixing the lighting in a shot.
It's kind of weird, but its main goal is to not be noticed and not be seen, because it would detract from the storyline or kind of what the director or writer of the film or whoever's producing it, it would take away from that experience. So the best kind of visual effects and special effects that are out there are the ones that you don't notice, or that doesn't break the plane for the viewer.
With an increasing use of special effects in today's entertainment, an audience is more likely to notice larger scale changes than small adjustments. Different special effects can be used to complete tasks as quickly as minutes rather than having to manually alter each individual frame of a production. Special effects not only help the production as a whole, but it can indicate what people are looking for in a production in the movie's specified genre, allowing the movie to cater to the audience. Today, many of the productions we see contain at least some sort of special effects in them, small or large, ranging from blockbuster movies such as the Avengers series to everyday programs and objects such as television commercials and posters.
Smaller productions, things on YouTube, things that are being generated for online content, things that are, for commercials, also certainly benefit from special effects in similar ways to films and television. Their budget may not be as big, but you can create a lot of seemingly high-end effects with a relatively low budget with a couple pieces of software and enough time on your hands.
A recent survey conducted on social media and at school shows that people are more likely to watch a movie with special effects in them rather than a TV show with special effects in them. When asked how much of a program should contain special effects, most of the school responses stated that a program should have around 50% contain special effects, and the social media responses stated that a program should have around 60% with special effects.
If the story requires special effects or visual effects in order to carry this story forward, whether that's in a film or in a TV show or whatever, I really think that special effects done right definitely would be needed. It's when they're not done so well, or they're done as an afterthought, or just the production value isn't there, then I would say no, I would figure out some other way to do it.
Bad special effects are becoming less common in productions, with older software constantly updating to fit the modern era. Today, you can use special effects to build large sets, synchronize action to music, create stunning camera shots, place an actor in a digital environment, make cool transitions, explosions, lighting, even creating fully fleshed out characters, and tons more.
There's certainly a lot of techniques that have developed, but the earliest special effect is turning the camera off and turning it back on. And that one is still just as effective in some instances as your multi-billion-dollar CGI extravaganza. Once you have the ability to composite, turn the camera off and on, and recombine the images, a whole world opens up into what you can actually show on screen.
Thanks to technology, special effects are being used in many of the on-screen productions we see today. While this documentary is only featuring movies, it's important to know that television shows, theater productions, and even live sports programs contain special effects in them. Not only can special effects impact the content we watch, they are also used to assist in guiding the action and in production, making it common to expect some form of special effects in the program today, further demonstrating how they've impacted our everyday lives. In order for a special effect to be important, it must cover one of three areas. One of those areas is being able to focus the audience onto a specific object or person, or drawing attention away from that object.
Most special effects are things that people wouldn't even notice. Things as simple as removing wires from a shot if someone is being suspended, or adding blood, adding gunshots, adding the small things that people expect to see all the time that don't actually occur or aren't actually occurring in that space, that help to flesh out the world and make it feel real for the viewer. Areas that also benefit from some of the special effects, things like your theater productions, stage productions, things like that, also benefit from a lot of the practical effects that either film has adopted from stage or film has developed and stage has adopted them from them.
Another area that needs to be considered is the practicality of the special effect and how it enforces the action. If a special effect does not enforce the action on screen, it will not influence an audience.
Any time the picture is changed in some way or something is added to it, it's going to influence the way somebody looks at it. If it's an optical effect, it's either to add something that wasn't there or to take away something that was. And in that sense, the special effect is usually trying to make the audience see whatever is going on to be more believable than it is.
Besides focusing on objects and enforcing the action on screen, many special effects need to create immersion, or how the audience believes the production is real. A great example is the movie Interstellar, where one scene had a realistic ocean scene, with changing gravity inside of the ship being rocked by the waves.
I think we're such visual creatures, and in order to make those visual effects look and feel real and kind of create that level of immersion of, I'm not sitting in a theater, again, it has to be deeply tied to the story. And not only does it have to be deeply tied to the story, but it has to make sense within the context of that. So balancing out, Harry Potter as an 11-year-old versus balancing out Harry Potter as 18 and in the final films, what does the spells look from the beginning to where they are now?
By disconnecting the practical things that can be shot from the things that we want to see and allowing us to generate those things, or potentially even do them in other ways in the camera, it is going to allow the production crew to create things that early filmmakers would have thought impossible. One of the biggest things is that the barrier for entry to create a digital effect now is much lower than it was 15, 20 years ago, both in terms of cost and in terms of training that you need to do in order to get a decent quality product.
Special effects need to cover at least one of the three main areas in order to be considered an important special effect. However, the many different ways special effects can be used is entirely up to the editor and director. In conclusion, special effects are used in many of the productions we see today, since they have become a core element of nearly every show we watch. While special effects are considered extremely useful in today's era, not every movie has to use special effects in order to succeed. Some movies, such as A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, can present a story using minimal special effects and still be successful. It's also important to know that too much special effects can cause viewers to feel disoriented, and there needs to be a right balance between movie footage and special effect usage. Each and every special effect in a film needs to be important. By focusing on an object, enforcing the action, or immersing the audience in order to succeed, special effects will continue to improve our films throughout our lives.
Ba 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 ba